Hi there buddy, hope you're having a great day, and we've got a really fun video today. We're going to be moving all of this stuff just to get to one vehicle that's right at the back, which is always typical. The plan is to get this one out, we're going to take it down to the workshop and hopefully just give it a little bit of a restoration job just to get it looking really nice. Luckily, it's not too bad at the minute. I'll show you inside now just to show. But here, if I show you inside, you can see it is actually in really good condition. I mean, just look at that foam. It looks pretty much like the day it went in. You can obviously tell this is one of the communication ones, as you can see just here. And thankfully, it does run. So last week we got inside and we did actually get it up and running. You can just about see there, we got the piano decks off. We did have to change the fuel pump on it, but thankfully now she does run, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get everything else moved from there and be able to just drive her straight out. Hopefully, if the plan goes right, we're going to be putting the Saracen there instead, which is pretty much one of the last vehicles that we need to be bringing back into the museum, especially over winter, because they never do any good leaving them outside in the rain, snow and all that rubbish. These two, however, these are going to be the first job. So you've got the M8 Greyhound that we've got to move, and then we've also got the Jeep that we've got to move as well. Thankfully, these two are probably the most reliable ones of our fleet, thankfully. And so they should just start up and be able to move straight out. These sort of days are always quite fun because we get to move stuff like this. So this is the Centurion, and it is an absolute beast. Now this one might need a little bit more tinkering around, but hopefully it should start up. I think the last time we ran this was about 3 or 4 months ago. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it shouldn't take too much time. Hopefully the plan is, if it all goes right, is this M8 is going to end up in the reception building. We're going to be putting this one back in the old World War II part of the museum, and then hopefully the Centurion is going to get pulled out. We then pull the gun out, and then we get the 432 out as well, which fingers crossed it all goes right. This is what we call the hen hut. This is where the Jeep's going to go into. So you can see where it originally was sat with a little bit of an oil leak. And luckily though, with this, it's got a nice big door behind it. So all we need to do is pull that up, open up the back end of the hen hut and bring it straight in. Thankfully, that's going to be the easiest one. If only they were all going to be that easy.
Stuart, what are you doing? Just trying to get the air brakes to uncouple. It's done now, we're all good. Just going to switch the key on, make sure they've got power, and fingers crossed, we won't need that. Armour so heavy. Well, now the easy job's done, we can get on with the hard stuff.
And now it's time to get the gun back into the reception. So she's struggling to get going at the minute, but she usually... Cheers for that. Alright, I'll start that again. She usually starts up an absolute charm, but what do you reckon's the issue? What do you reckon's happened?
I think we've probably flooded her. We've not used her for a while, and I think we've probably flooded her, but we'll keep persevering.
Now typically that's the vehicle I said was the easiest to start, and of course because I said it, now it's not starting, but fingers crossed, a few more minutes we'll get it running. Now the only thing I'm hoping is, although we've had a bit of an issue with that, hopefully we don't have an issue with this one, because this one can be a lot harder to fix.
They do flash on.
So the plan's to get a plug out, spark plug out, and see if we've got a spark.
Put your fuel in.
It is. Just put the jump. Everything's probably damp because of this bloody weather.
Oh, no. I know how it feels.
Right.
Just like that. And just like that it starts. So now we're going to get it out, take it around the back of the museum and put it back in its home. Let's go! For all that nice deep mud. Okay.
No, 50 car's got to go out.
Oh, has it got it? That's it. A little bit that way if you can. That's it. How close you want, just you can in the back.
Just close the door.
A little bit more there, a little bit more. And there we have it. She's now in the chicken coop. And as you can see,
It rained.
yes, it rained, which is typical because it stopped raining now. Look at that, it stopped raining now, but as soon as we go out with this vehicle, it starts raining. You can see it is a little bit of a snug fit, especially with Stuart in there. While Nick and Stuart are connecting the batteries and just checking the waters and everything else, I'm just going to tell you guys a little bit of history about this vehicle. The Centurion was a British main battle tank and originally saw service just after World War II. Weighing in at roughly 50 tonne, it had a top speed of up to 22 miles per hour. Now they made nearly 4,500 of these and known to be one of the most successful tanks ever created.
So I'm just going to reverse it round forward so that the gun fits through there.
They saw service all over the world from the Korean War to South Africa, and although replaced by the Chieftain tank in the British Army, some countries still use a variant of these today.
Okay, with this particular one we have to pump the pedal a few times, the accelerator pedal, to get the fuel round. But also we have to pump it up on the engine there, and we forgot that bit. So we're going to do that now, and then, touch wood, she'll start.
Just in time to get her out into the rain, which is great. And there you go, she's finally outside. But what happened there? Did you stall her?
Yeah, we stalled her because we didn't give her long enough to warm up. And we didn't give her quite long enough to warm up because we haven't got a lot of fuel in it, and it drinks like fuel like it's going out of fashion, so we rushed it a little bit.
To give you guys an idea, it uses about 1 gallon a minute, which is absolutely insane how much fuel this vehicle actually uses. I must say, the funniest bit of all of this is always watching Stuart get off this. Because they weren't built for men of his stature, is what Mum would say. Now, as I said earlier, this is the fun bit, because that wheel ends up quite often catching on that. But fingers crossed, today is our lucky day. What's the chance that she's going to start straight up?
Evens.
Well, fingers crossed. If she doesn't start up, it's not the end of the world. We can always tow her out, but it's always a lot easier with these vehicles when they go under their own steam, so fingers crossed. You can already see there are a few things we need to do to it, like cosmetically we need to give it a nice paint job, and that track is horrendously low. But to give you guys an idea, this vehicle was put in here probably about 6 years ago. Was it about 6 years ago this was put in here?
Yeah, 6, maybe even more, 7 years.
6 or 7 years, and since then it's only ever been ran up. It's not actually been driven around.
So let's hope it drives.
Well, hopefully. Nitro said evens, so that's a good chance. But again, you can see how close we've had to get it to this wall. One of the things is, though we've got quite a bit of land, we haven't got that huge of buildings, and we seem to shove everything in here just to fill it. So it does make it quite fun when we're trying to move things around. She lives! Now, though that track is horrendously low, we are only just going to be pulling it out of the museum before we take it down the drive to the workshop. Hopefully we're going to do that tomorrow, so when it comes round to that, talk about how we will then grease up the tracks before they go out. To say those tracks need a little bit of grease is a bit of an understatement. At least the horn works. And there you go, finally, after all of that hassle, we have finally got the 4.3 out. And like I say, just needs the tracks pumping up before we take it down to the workshop tomorrow. And now we've got the really fun bit of putting everything back in. The only difference is, like I said earlier, what we're going to be doing is, rather than having the 439 in there, we're going to replace that with a Saracen. And fingers crossed it will start up, because again, we haven't driven this for a few months as well.
It's that good, you don't even have to plug it into the batteries, as long as you're holding the jump pack.
It's one of those smart packs.
Of course I spoke too soon.
To be fair, the batteries being dead is not the biggest issue. For a lot of these vehicles it ends up being the same, especially these older ones. So hopefully, if that's the only thing, we'll jump starter and we'll have her running in just a few moments. For those who didn't know, the Saracen is actually a personnel carrier, as you can see by all these seats just here, and it has quite a unique layout for the driver and the commander. So you have an idea, that commander seat just behind him just swivel all the way around, which is quite cool. Honestly, a weird looking vehicle on the outside, but one of my favourites on the inside. And this one on the inside isn't actually in that bad of nick. I mean, look at this foam. The foam is pretty much rock solid. She lives again!
it's not as big as the 439, and it's we've got a bit more room. It's a nightmare to steer, very heavy. Anyway, she's in, so now for the gun and the Centurion.
And now she's in, we've still got to dress up the area because this is a bit that, or you can see the camo nettings come down off the 4.3. And of course, that was most likely going to be my job. As you can see, there is very little room. Very little room at all, but enough room for people to get around, which is the main thing. Plenty of room between this and the T55, and then and obviously then the Chieftain as well. Overall, not a very bad day. All we've got to do now is tidy everything up and then get that 4.3 down to the workshop to have a bit of work on it. But I hope you have enjoyed the video. If you have, please do like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Are you still struggling with the mannequin?
Oh, it's ridiculous bloody thing.
Everything that we do here at Armourgeddon, this is probably the hardest job, is literally just refitting the mannequins.
The arms back on, it's like ridiculous.